We must use difficult without amino acids ammonium sulfate. This is for like sulfur limitation or ammonium starvation. But so what we want today is without amino acids. So this would have ammonium sulfate. It will provide nitrogen and sulfur, right? For the so we can use this.
And this is to make 1-XSD.
Yes, make 1-XSD.
Exactly.
And we're D-glucose, right? So okay, so now we're going to weigh them out. And then I will pour it in and bring to volume, right? So that's what I would do. So again, I'll being paranoid, I'll rinse them. There's an opportunity to rinse them. Actually, I could have done that before. I could have added the syrup out here, rinse the whole thing, right? So then we're not worried about this. And generally, there's an art of doing this. I need a big one, right? So generally, we have a big, really, really huge one. Actually, you can put it back because if the bowl is clean, right, and you know you have not touched anything, I can put it back because it's quite expensive. This is expensive compound. Okay, good. Yeah, put it back. Put it back and close. Okay, 4. Do the next one. Yeah, 4. The way I do it is this following, right? So I actually fold it out.
Oh, so that's the...
Yeah, so it doesn't kind of like gets around. Right, do you want to do the rest? Okay, here. Yeah, and then I would do, exactly, I would do this. So the way I would do it, I would do this.
Oh.
So this I open up because I want everything to be off, right? So then I also weigh it just to see, right? It should be 0. Just to double check, because in case you forgot to zero it, you can still just stop making a solution and do it again. You know? So then this we toss, this would be put away.
Can we never use the same one?
I'm a little bit worried. I'd rather be careful, right? You could use the same one. And I do, but you're beginners, so you're not going to use it, okay? Because that means when you do it, your spatula should never touch it. Because if you go back and then do it again, I don't want to. So that's the worst thing, to cross-contaminate the chemicals, because all the rest of people, because it will take people forever to troubleshoot, right? What's going on? Does that make sense? Yeah, it's more faster because you have a long way to go. Okay, so take that over.
Oh, additional, how do you close it?
See, you close the other end.
Squeeze it in.
Squeeze it like that. Right? Yeah. Yeah, let go. Let open a little bit if it's too slow. Open a little bit, exactly. Yeah. So now, like, this way, just double check whether you start at 0. Yeah, good. So okay. Oh, so we see where this is dissolved. It's really easy. This solution is very easy, but you see, it's still some powdery. I would just wait a little bit. And generally, I like to, if I go away, I generally like to cover it with something. I don't like to leave it open like this, right? And I generally like to cover something. So I generally wait for 20 minutes or something like that. Because it's easy. Because some of them you just have to crystal clear. It has to be
On the speed, not the...
on speed.
Do you have it very slow like that?
No,
the
you can do faster. As long as it doesn't splash, it doesn't
Yeah.
go crazy.
Yeah.
Right. As long as you can add a little bit more water, that's fine. Like because we're going for 2 liters, right? So that's more than enough.
All the concentrations.
Because we're going to make a 1x.
Yeah.
So it doesn't, because I'm making 2 liters. So because this is a maximum of 1 liter, right? So it doesn't
So
matter.
now we're making 1 liter.
Yeah. 1 liter, and then I will fill it to volume for 2 liters. Because you don't need really a 2 liter thing. It's just bulky. So what I like to do is I like to use 1 liter and pour it in. I pour it in, then I rinse this, pour it in, rinse it, pour it in, bring volume to 2 liters.
Yeah.
And a sterile filter. So then I make sure everything here is washed down. So every step I have thought through, like how we're going to do it, and so on and so forth, right? So it's not. I'll just do that. So then I will So actually, everybody should have taken a look at the beginning, right, to see. So is it clear? Right? Initially, it was not that clear. So now you don't see any particles. So that's actually very important. Because those particles, if not dissolved, they will not filter through, right? So you have a wrong concentration. See the thing cover. I was thinking normally I would put it. Normally I'm not trying to catch something.
Yeah.
Right. I would just do this. I would go do some work, read
So
some
you
papers.
take around 20 minutes to
20,
let that
30 minutes.
dissolve.
Yeah, it's like more relaxed. But
1x SD.
So I'm going to go rinse.
I'm going to be back in like 5 minutes.
No worries.
So rinse a couple of times and bring to volume.
So what are you doing now?
I'm just washing this off. I'm washing this down and making it 2 liters.
Yeah,
Am I
but like
making sense?
tiny volumes at small
Yeah,
volumes
yeah,
at a
exactly.
time.
Yeah.
Why the small volumes at a time? To
Because
get
then
all
it's
of it
more
out.
thorough.
Okay.
Small throw. And also, if you do large, you might overshoot. Then you're forced to throw them away. Small volume, it's safe, right? It's just always like that.
Yeah.
Am I making sense?
Yeah.
Because if you did a lot, and actually it's not, because for example, if this has 300, you only have 200. You're forced to throw away that 100, right? And you're not going to overshoot.
But yeah.
But
You,
this one, yeah, so the rest I can just do it. I can just do it, bring to
Avoid contamination.
No, we go to sterile filter.
I can't remember. No, it's already been. I'm not sure. So the SD was originally autoclaved, you know, the 100 times. But now.
No, SD is a sterile filter. We never autoclave.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, you never autoclave liquid.
Just sterile filter.
But except I'm quite good to use. So for you guys, because you're not as experienced, I would suggest you keep using that little beaker and add gradually. Eventually, you will add it to, like, eventually it's so dilute, it's just a container. It's much easier to control. Here it's harder, right? But if you look, it's exactly 2 liters, right? It's exactly 2 liters. And it's very easy to overshoot if you use this, right? So, okay. So now parafilm. Now that's parafilm. Right, and then the way I do it is I slowly stretch it over to seal, because you don't want it to leak, right? You don't want anything to. You're going to flip up and down to mix, and this is a lot of volume, and you don't want to leak, right? And so I use 2 layers basically, right? So make sure that everything closed and we'll do another one, and you can practice that. Afterwards, you can just use the water to practice, right? Make sure when you do this, it doesn't leak. And then, and you do up and down like 5 times. Then it would be ready to sterile filter. I go over whatever the previous one. Each person has his or her favorite way of doing it. As long as it doesn't leak, it's okay. And then I put my palm over it, just so that to give it the extra support, and I belabor it, right? 1, then leak, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now I'm ready. So we have 2 types of bottles. So one's called pre-soaked. It's labeled pre-soaked. Pre-soaked ones are very elaborate to make. So after they're washed, we actually, after they send back to us, we will put them in pure water, like at least overnight, right? At least, and then wash, just so that the trace kind of nutrients are washed away. So these are particularly good for starvation experiments, because any trace nutrients can screw up your experiments. In those experiments also, you will use plastic pipettes, not glass pipettes. Because glass pipettes, again, being washed by the glass facility, they might have trace contaminations. So those trace contaminations generally don't make any difference, but for some crucial experiments, right, it really makes a difference. So like sulfur starvation. Cells need so little sulfur, or like vitamin starvation, they need so little, right? Any contamination will just make them grow, give you really irreproducible results. And then another example is cosmoviability, like the minimum total cell density required for cosmo to grow to saturation. And this, like, I think Adam Wade spent like a month or two to waste it on it because the experiments were very irreproducible. So finally he figured out. And also for those experiments, we have to use factory clean tubes. So those glass culture tubes, we don't use we don't pre-soak because too much time. We just use factory clean. So basically it has never been used. Those tubes with those bottles with plastic pipettes, like everything is like high level of like security, right? But for normal experiments like cosmo growth rate, it really doesn't matter, right? So then we just use the regular wash because a little bit it doesn't matter because you're looking at growth rate. So they're releasing probably more than the contaminants. So and then you're averaging over time, so that effect goes away. So that's why. And so this I would just keep those tapes there, right? And so to mark it at every so we turn this on again, and then we have these bottles ready. And so my strategy is the following, right? So the point is that I know what's sterile, right? Like what's absolutely sterile. What is sterile here, and what's not sterile? At current setup, what's sterile, what's not sterile?
The other glaze bottle.
The bottles are sterile, good. And what else?
The cup.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to keep it that way. So the trick I do is that I want the lid to sit in a sterile location that I know. But of course we ethanol wipe it, but you can never be sure, right? So the way I would do it is I would take advantage of this little lid and I'll put it on top of there. So then I know I'm putting it on the sterile. And I'll just swap each one of them. So actually, in fact, what I will do is I will open each of them. Right, so them. Right. So I can easily swap out. And you will see what I'm doing. Okay, so I will do this first. And I will open that. So make sure. So it says pair and slit to open. So that's very obvious. That's the vacuum. So we need to pull vacuum so the liquid will go through this the sterile cup. So what will happen is the following, right? It's little. Let me just move it a little bit like that. So it's like out of the way a little bit. Okay. And so here it says. So I'm opening this. Right, so now I'm going to swap. I'm going to swap the lid. So this one, just keep it like that until the very end. All right, so now I'm going to plug it in. So there's some, I can pour some first. So I will demonstrate. It will not go down. Not go down. So now it's fine, right? The top is not sterile, so you don't need to be so worried. See, it doesn't go down, right? But if I pull the vacuum, it will. How do I turn this on? It is a machine. Hold on for a second. Oh, here's the button. Here's the switch. So now I'm just going to see. Now the liquid is coming down. Right, liquid is coming down. And you can do this, but you don't always feel it because you don't want to. You kind of look at the.
You might overshoot.
Yeah, you don't want to. Basically, you use this, right? How many? You use the cylinder to tell you how much you have been putting in, right? So this time I want to put. Little bit more, little bit less, doesn't matter. That's about right. It's about 1,600. I would probably do a little bit more. So it's 400 each, 5 bottles. It's drains. I want the catch. So now that's a trick, right? I'm going to swap. I'm not going to add this lid here because it's pointless. I'm just going to swap the lid here to swap, right? I do lift it up, otherwise I can't see what's going on, right? So I'm going to do that. Close the lid. So this bottle is done. Of course, I'm going to label SD. You know, like this we have to label afterwards.